us. We now move on once again into the world of economics, where global stocks remained flat on Friday, still close to record highs as investors monitored the high-stakes Trump-Putin talks in Alaska. The Dow edged up to an intraday record, while the S&P 500 and Nasdaq fell on weakness in tech and financials. Oil prices dropped sharply, with Brent falling to 66.85 a barrel, while gold held steady. Investors remain on standby, awaiting any signs of a ceasefire roadmap. Before we head into the discussion, let's take a look at the live numbers. We're going to start with the US stock market and Dow Jones. Let's have a look at how Wall Street's doing today, given these talks. We can see that the Dow Jones is up 34.86 today, and that's a 0.08% gain. So some confidence gained after these talks. We now move on to the S&P 500, another prominent stock on Wall Street. That's down 18.74 points. So a small loss there of 0.29%. We now move on to the Nasdaq index, which has also seen a small loss in confidence from investors. A loss of 87.69 points, or 0.4%. We now move on to Russia's stock market. Let's see how Moscow is trading today. They have a loss of 4.14, or a 0.19% loss today. Minor loss, however. Now let's move on to the oil and gas market, a prominent point of discussion when it comes to trading in Moscow, a huge export and Russia's main export. As we can see, confidence has gained here throughout the day. It has fluctuated. However, we see right now we see a gain of 0.08. Or a 2.83% climb there. We now move over to Brent crude oil, a huge export of Russia's, which has lost confidence by 1.02%. That's the Brent crude oil market in the United States. WTI crude oil has also lost a slight amount of confidence today at minus 1.28%, or otherwise a 0.8% loss. There we have the numbers of the current related markets as announcements and updates continue to roll out over these Putin and Trump talks. We're now going to move to Sharad Kohli, who's a senior economist, and he joins us live from New Delhi to discuss this further. Sharad, thank you very much for joining us. How do the markets reflect these huge geopolitical updates, for example, like this meeting with Trump and Putin? We know that tariffs and Donald Trump's disrupted the markets. His announcements come with confidence gain and confidence losses in drastic fashion. Sharad, what can you tell us about this?
Well, greetings to you, Thomas, and greetings to the NewsX world viewers. Well, I think the clouds of uncertainty, they still remain on the world markets, because this meeting, which happened last evening, was being anticipated very curiously. And somehow the outcome of the meeting is not very favorable for the market. The markets are not rejoicing, I would say, out of the outcome, because nothing on ceasefire, no roadmap, except that next meeting might happen in Moscow, where President Trump may visit. No dates have been fixed. So I think the situation is pretty much the same, except for a little bit of bonhomie between Trump and Putin, and some photo ops. I don't really see anything major coming out of this market or out of this meeting. So I don't think markets are going to celebrate this. In fact, I would call it as if the meeting has sort of partly failed. You might see markets resounding after the weekend when they open, because the markets are going to open on Monday. You might see a little bit of pressure on the markets where some kind of selling might come, because, as I said, a lot was being anticipated. Stakes were very high. As for the crude market, I would say, the crude, Russia, America for that matter, is expecting that probably India will stop buying oil from Russia, which will put pressure on the oil. So which is not going to happen. I don't think India is going to be stopping to buy oil from Russia. Well, President Trump keeps saying that India is one of the largest, customers for the Russian oil. Well, I don't think India is going to stop buying oil. So the crude oil market is not going to rise, because had India stopped, then there would have been a lot of pressure on the oil market in the Middle East and OPEC countries. But that doesn't seem to be happening. Gold, I see, gold and silver, precious metals, I see them rising because the geopolitical situation is not improving anytime soon. We might see aggravated attacks from Russia into Ukraine. You will also see the value of dollar going down, because American economy doesn't seem to be in a very good shape. I mean, after the tariffs, you might see dollar coming under pressure to a certain extent. Well, of course, Nasdaq, S&P, and Dow, they have been doing reasonably well. But the question mark is whether it's going to remain like that in the times to come. I see some pressure building up from here, because on 27th August, for example, the 50% tariffs on India, they come into effect. A lot of other tariffs have come into effect. This is going to fuel inflation in America, which is not very good from a geo-economic point of view as well, Thomas, apart from the geopolitical. I think the geo-economic factors would also count on the minds of investors and traders. So I think the road ahead is a bit uncertain. I would say until this whole cloud of tariff clears out, one cannot be very, very committal about the markets, Thomas.
Sharad, thank you for that such great insight on that topic. Unfortunately, that is all that we have time for, but we will